Hello everyone, this is Tim at Mater Patch Farm. We're going to talk a little bit about how I fertilize, and today's going to be on my tomatoes. It's going to be, so I put my pre-plant fertilization in when I transplanted my tomatoes. Now I'm doing my first, basically you call it a side dressing of fertilizer. And every 2 weeks I'm going to add X amount of fertilizer to my tomatoes through the growing season and all my crops to a certain point. I have all that figured out, have it on my laptop, my application rates and dates. I will have a video in a couple days discussing the maximum nutrient uptake of these tomatoes that I found. So I have here a new mix. I went to co-op and got a new mix of my mix of fertilizer. It's a 7-18-36. And I also have ammonia nitrate, 34% nitrogen. And I will be mixing this, and I have everything figured out on how much I'm going to add. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the way I put this on my plants and how I apply it and the reasons why I do it. You can weigh this out. This is going to be 0.9 pounds, 0.9 for a 60-foot row. I can grab this and try my best to go down both sides of them plants, letting this fertilizer roll off my fingers. This is not a very good scale to apply fertilizer evenly down a 60-foot row on both sides. I've never seen a deal of somebody says, okay, I want to take a cup full of this nitrogen, I want to go down this row of corn. I've never seen the end where they get to the end to go, hey, there's the last bit of fertilizer falling on my last corn plant. I've never seen that. I'm pretty good at it myself, but I'm not that good. I may end up 6 foot short, or when I get to the end, I still have fertilizer left. So I like to put fertilizer on as evenly as possible. And so I want to keep a record. I have everything wrote down on my application rate. So I have me a good set of digital scales here. They're certifiable. So on this mix is 0.9 of a pound of my mix. And if I'm off just a little bit, that's fine. And then 0.4 of my ammonium nitrate, so I should have 1.3 pounds per 60-foot row of my mix. So the wind's blowing some of the scales off a little bit. There's a 129, that's close enough. So I'm going to move the camera over here and then talk a little bit about what I do now. I have both fertilizers in here. I'm just going to mix it with water and put it in a water can. We'll go to that right now. All right, so now I have my fertilizer, and what I'm going to do is I like to give this a few minutes to soak. Go ahead and put water in here, and then start break down, dissolve a little bit. You need a few minutes for that to kind of dissolve down, then of course stir it up. Don't put anything metal in here, because no matter how good you rinse it off after you get done, like a screwdriver or whatever, it's going to be rusting the next day. So try to use a wood stick or a piece of plastic, something that won't rust. This is a vacuum hose deal that we no longer need or use, and so I commandeered it just to mix my fertilizer. And why I like doing this is I get an equal, or more of an equal distribution of my fertilizer down my rows. I already have my mix from a few minutes ago that I let soak. I stirred it up, it's in here. So I'm going to let this set and start soaking. And I'm going to add more water in here and turn my sprayer up to kind of get it stirred up. And stir this at the same time. Now all I need is a piece of bubble gum. Turn the camera up here. And I like putting fertilizer down both sides of my rows. I just like to try to equal it out. You have roots growing out both sides, so Even though I'm putting this almost on top of the plant, don't pour your fertilizer on top of your plants. I'm pouring it on the edge, and yes, it's getting on the side leaves a little bit. In a couple of weeks, those leaves will not be there, but right now they are. But I like this because on that fertilizer, small size, so it will dissolve quicker. So by already got the dissolving and dissolve down where the plants can drop the roots. And with this weight of my water, because I feel the way the idea how much fertilizer I have left. I lightly tilled this last night. I have a depth control bar on the back of my tiller. I set it on the first notch. So the tiller kind of did goofy, but I only wanted to go down about 3/4 of an inch because you have a lot of shallow roots coming off the sides of these plants. You don't want to go too deep or get close. I got pretty close last night, probably too close, but my plants were still good. But yes, I probably should have stayed off the plants another 4 or 5 inches. All right, so the next thing you do, even if you're putting your granular fertilizer out or this, I want to cover it with just a little bit of dirt. So and that's another reason why I have this tilled, just a little thin layer of dirt, because your nitrogen will dissipate pretty quick. And of course into the atmosphere. So I'm just wanting to kind of lightly cover this. Say I'll go over my rate for my to nitrogen. We're but balanced out equal. So this is by far I think the easiest for me. Couple of days I'll get started with my truss. I should have done that today, but I'm doing this. I got to put in some diversion ditches for the rainfall that's going to be coming. The tomatoes and squash here, zucchini are on the lowest spot of my garden. Now what I'll do is I'm going to fill this water can full of water. I'm going to go down this side here first, and I'm going to wash or rinse the fertilizer off the leaves of the tomato plants, so that way it don't burn the leaves. I'll fill it up again and go down the other side, and with that water it will start saturating that fertilizer water I put on, and it'll start pushing it on down. If we didn't have rain coming tonight, I'd put a sprinkler on this, let it run for 45 minutes or so to kind of help get that water to push that fertilizer on down deeper. But I'm not going to do that. There's no need in that with that rain coming tonight. I covered up my fertilizer, so the dissipated nitrogen loss should be really low. And then of course when I put this water on, it'll help kind of settle in that loose dirt that's on top of that fertilizer, that little blanket of dirt I made. And then we'll go from there. But that's all I have from this. A couple people have asked me if I was interested in selling some of my high potassium fertilizer. I'm going to say this. I am not a fertilizer dealer, but I may have 100 pounds I can let go this season if somebody wants a high potassium fertilizer. It's going to be pretty cheap. I'm not in the business of selling fertilizer. It's going to be $10 for 25 pounds to get a 7/18/36 if anybody's interested. But like I say, I'm not a fertilizer dealer, and I may allow 100 pounds to go because I'm going to need a lot of that mix this year, and I want to have enough left over to pre-plant everything for next season. I'd like to have at least 150 pounds left over for that. Probably won't need that much, but I'd like to have that much in case I need it. All right, folks, thank you. Right ways and wrong ways of adding fertilizer to your tomatoes or your garden. I just like doing this way. It just it makes it easier for the, distributing your fertilizer evenly down both sides of your rows. It also, I believe, starts the breaking down process of your little pellets or your granules, that they start, your plant can pick it up quicker, as it rains and the water gets on it. So, all right, well, thank you. Till next time.